What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Sarah from Sarah Styles here. What brands are selling well for me? What do I look at when I am going outsourcing? I'm going to dive deep into my data today and show you the nitty gritty of what I look for before I go outsourcing. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for joining. If you are new here, I am a reseller and I also do data analytics for the reseller. I have two analytical dashboards, one for sales for all platforms and then one also for inventory, so you can see what is selling well for you to source smarter and not harder and make the monetary goals that you are achieving. So if you like content like this, make sure to subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notified on that, and then give thumbs up. Leave comments down below if you have questions or just to show your appreciation. I didn't know this until I started doing more YouTube, but liking or commenting helps extend my reach. So if it is something that you like and you think other people would like as well, giving it a like and a comment helps it extend the reach. So I definitely appreciate that if you do like this content. And today I'm going to dive into the inventory dashboard. If you follow my channel, I do a monthly video and tell you what sold for the month and look at it. But I really wanted to dig deep into it and show you what I really look into and, really get into the nitty gritty of it, which I don't have time to do on my what sold video. So I am going to go over two of my top selling brands, Vintage and Coach. I am planning on sourcing here shortly. I have been doing a lot of cross posting, so I actually haven't been sourcing in like 2 or 3 weeks, which is like, I'm a reseller and I don't go shopping, like what? But I am a huge advocate on doing what works for you and looking at your data to know what is working for you. So I'm going to show you my data and how I look at the inventory dashboard for my data, but I really want to emphasize that what I am doing is not necessarily going to work for everybody. I want to show you how I'm doing it and give you the tools to do it for yourself. And then I am always here and available if you have questions. And then if you do have the dashboard, there's a Facebook user group that I'm very active. I am active in it. I run it, but a lot of people are active in it, and we talk back and forth, and you can always ask questions in there and send me a DM on how to do something like this or things that you may want to be looking at for your business model as well. So everybody is different. Something different works for everybody. I do show my numbers in this video, and that is because I want to show you concrete examples of what exactly that I do. So let's dig into the data. I wanted to dig deeper into Coach and into Vintage. They are consistently my top brands, but I wanted to do a little bit deeper of a dive into them. What I did here is I went into my into my sales and inventory reports from PoshMark, and it was for all of last year, and I took out everything that wasn't Vintage. So I am only now looking at Vintage in this inventory dashboard. And then I will go ahead after we look at this one and show you my Coach dashboard where I'm only looking at Coach items for 2019. The categories. So what categories in Vintage are selling well to me? Dresses are selling. I sold the most dresses. Jackets, I sold a lot of jackets. Pants, jeans, shirts, and shoes are kind of up there. Only 3 bags. And so some of this, and I'm going to note this, a lot of the Vintage bags that I have are Coach or Dooney & Bourke or high-end brands, and a lot of times I will put them in Coach instead of under Vintage. So only selling 3 bags here is likely because they are put under something other than Vintage, if that makes sense. But the ones that I'm selling, the average sale price are $53. I work on increasing my average sale price because I only resell part-time, like a quarter of the time, because I do a lot of social media and then dashboard support as well. So dresses, pants, and bags are, for me, my highest average sale price and what I kind of want to dig a bit deeper in. Days on hand, I'm not overly concerned with because I have a higher average sale price, and so things can sit a little bit longer, but then I also relist a lot, and so this days on hand isn't necessarily true to how long I've had the item. It's just how long has it been in PoshMark, and because I relist, it gets a new list date. I'm not so concerned with that. What I really am concerned with, not concerned, but what I wanted to look at is my sell-through rate. So your sell-through is I am buying how much am I selling of what I'm buying? The 100% means everything that you have purchased, you have sold. So that's the ideal situation. And this is what I really wanted to look into is what categories should I focus on and are selling well for me in vintage. And as we saw up here, it's, my average sale price are bags, pants, dresses. Dresses I'm selling a lot of. Jeans, not great, $28. And then jackets, but sell-through rates. This is what I want to look at when I'm sourcing, so that when I am out there, I'm really saying, okay, I'm buying all of these vintage items. Are they actually selling? So my average sell-through rate for vintage is 57% for the entire year, which I'm okay with that. I was worried that it was going to be a lot lower because I always feel like it sells well. And this is why looking at your data is so important, because I was thinking it was going to be a lot lower than that. So I'm actually really surprised that it's selling better than I thought. Some things that I do want to look at is which categories are not selling well and possibly moving those over to a different platform. I am moving things over to Etsy, so I want to keep an eye on if maybe vintage is better on Etsy, or I've heard it does well on eBay as well. I am on eBay, but it's like slow and steady wins the race. I'm slowly getting more sales, but it's not anything crazy now. So jeans, when I look at sell-through rate, my average sell-through rate is 57%. So anything below that 57% is doing less than average for me. And so that's what I want to look at. So jeans are selling less than average for me. Dresses, I'm going to dig deeper into that one because it's not spring, right? Like, and I have been buying, I still consistently buy dresses when I see them. And so like, I know towards the end of last year, I bought quite a few dresses and listed them, but I'm not expecting them to sell until, spring and summer, especially like wedding and prom dresses. I've purchased quite a few of them. So I'm going to dig a bit deeper into that. But if that's not the case, then that 19% is concerning. And I need to really figure out what dresses sell well in vintage and really focus on what I'm picking up. Tops, those are probably from the beginning of last year. I don't buy a lot of tops. I don't really like tops. A lot of people sell fast, but they don't sell really high. And I am more of a high average price seller. And then shoes is below that. And I do focus a lot on shoes. So I'm going to look into my shoes and my tops. Bags is a little bit below that as well. So I'm going to look into my bags. The thing with bags, and this is bags for all across the board, they tend to sit a little bit longer and not sell as quickly, and they sit longer because they tend to be higher priced items and they need a specific person. However, at $53 purse, an average item, I don't mind that so much. So I'm going to dig a bit deeper into the data. Something with dresses, and you can see this, I have a lot of dresses. I want to look a little bit deeper into my dresses and see what's going on there. So this is the size data. What sizes of dresses are selling for me? Days on hand, things that are sitting, 8s are sitting, sell-through rate is lower. The thing to consider with vintage as well, and this is where I actually have recently, since doing this, and then I was talking to Tori from Girly Girl Styles, I am going to go in and change my sizing. I'm going to change it to small, medium, large, extra large, the letter, and then I'm also going to do it based off of fit, not off of vintage size, because a 90s vintage size 10 fits significantly different than a vintage 50 size 10 dress, and people are going to be looking for their size, right? And so I'm going to go in, I put measurements in all my pictures, I will go in and change them. I think some of the dresses not selling as well is likely that the sizing is off, so when people are searching, they're not searching as well. And then I've mentioned this in the past, the J's, the P's, they sit. And I really think it's because no one searches particularly for petites or for juniors. So I may try that strategy as well. Let me know what you do. Leave comments down below on that as well. And then definitely make sure to follow me, because as I go through and do my monthly videos, I will touch on this as well and let you know what worked and what did not work. Extra smalls, no surprise there, tend to sit for a little bit longer. So now that I'm looking at these dress sizes, sell-through rates that are selling less are smalls, and a small in vintage is like really small, so that's not surprising. other smaller 6 is probably pretty small in vintage too, depending on the era. But things that are selling better, 14, that is a P, but this 5X, 12s are up there, 10s are up there. So I think when I am outsourcing, I'm going to be a little bit more cognizant of what size it is. And if it's itty bitty, unless it's like a super special piece, I may double think twice about it. I do want to look at subcategories so we were looking at the category data. Jeans, 27%. That's pretty low. I was kind of on a high-waisted mom jeans kick. But if you follow me, you know that I cannot sell jeans to save my life. I don't know what I do. And I thought vintage was a little bit better. Some of this is I found a whole bunch of vintage Levi's and they were men's. And then I listed them as women's, but I don't think men's sell as well. And so I think that was kind of I probably won't do that again, which is part of why the jeans sell-through rate is so low. So lesson learned there. But I do want to look at if there's any information. Oh, we'll go back to dresses in a minute. So what is selling in jeans? And these are only vintage jeans that are selling. Straight leg and straight. Ankle cropped, boyfriend overalls, and skinny are not selling. And so this is where I'll go back and look and make sure that they are categorized correctly. Because sometimes they get categorized wrong, or they could kind of fit into 2 categories. And so I'll try it in a different category and see if someone is searching for that. And then also just pay attention to what I'm buying, and these may just not be selling items for me. I do want to look at dresses because I was concerned with my low sell-through rate for dresses. And so the ones over here that are on hand that that have not sold yet are wedding, prom, and maxi. Okay. Phew. That makes me feel a little bit better about my low sell-through rate because I do have a lot of wedding and prom dresses, and I will always pick them up because they sold. Well, last year I sold 100% of my prom dresses. But there's a small window of when they sell. So if I see a prom dress in August, I pick it up. It's going to sit, and I'm fine with that because prom dresses typically sell at a much higher average sale price. So my average sale price being so low, I feel better about it because these are all things that I had not intended to be selling right now. It'll probably start to pick up. I've sold a couple wedding dresses in the past week or 2. So these will probably start to pick up. And then if they don't, I'll look at it and see. So this makes me feel better. Those are things that I'm not expecting to sell yet. Some of this, I think, is the way that it's categorized that I'm going to play with. People aren't necessarily looking specifically for long sleeves. Maybe put that into a different category. I've also been playing around with taking it out of midi or mini or maxi because a lot of my stuff is like knee length. So this is stuff that's not overly concerning to me because I think some of it is the way that it's labeled. However, that being said, I am moving things over to Etsy to see if they do better on Etsy. If you sell vintage and you sell it on a certain platform that you like the best, definitely let me know. So my takeaway from this is actually very exciting. I didn't think vintage was selling that well for me. And based off of my sell-through rates of 57%, I'm very comfortable with that. I am a part-time reseller. And so selling 57% of my inventory on a year basis, I'm okay with. Some of the things that have lower sell-through rates are seasonal items like dresses. And so I have them on hand to sell in the spring and summer. I'm not overly concerned that that sell-through rate is that low because they will sell in spring and summer. And then in the fall, maybe I'll look again at that. So now let's look at Coach. Coach is one of my top revenue earners. I sell a lot of it and it sells high, but I'm wondering if I'm selling lots of it because I have a lot, like I want to get a better grasp on what in Coach is selling so that when I go out and I'm deciding what to pick up, I can say, oh yeah, I know this style sells for me, or I know shoes or purse, you know what it is. So this is why I'm looking at Coach. It's a top seller for me, top revenue seller and average sale price as well, and quantity. It's one of my tops. And I see it a lot. So I really want to be strategic in what I'm picking up. So bags for sure. I could have told you that. I actually have stopped picking up shoes, but I mean, $31 average sale price is a bit lower. I mean, it's half of bags, but this is interesting. I had kind of stopped picking up Coach shoes, but the days on hands for shoes tends to be a little bit lower. and they do. Let's look at the sell-through rates. Shoes sell-through rates is 75%. So that is higher than the bags. So I may start looking at shoes again and then just be really diligent in what I pick up. I do notice like the tennis shoe logo shoes tend to go pretty quickly. They don't sell super high, but they tend to go pretty quickly. And that's one of the few things that I will buy with the logo brand on it. Average sale price for sure is going to be the bags. What I wanted to really look at is the sell-through rates. Accessories, I'm not really sure what that is. My mom gave me some stuff, so I bet it's something like that. I don't usually buy like maybe a keychain or something. I don't usually buy a lot of Coach accessories. I do buy wallets sometimes, but that would be in bags. So my average sell-through rate for Coach is 59%. And that is actually surprising to me. I thought for sure that I was buying a ton of Coach and maybe, I was expecting like 20 to 30%. So being close to 60% over the course of an entire year for high end, you're talking an average sale price of $68, I'm fine with that. It's something on Poshmark for $68 is going to tend to sit a little bit longer. Having a sell-through rate of 52%, yes, it's a little bit lower than my average sell-through rate, but those are both pretty good. So the one thing, size isn't going to matter because they're all one size. The one thing I do want to look at is what kinds of bags are selling for me. There's bags that often fit into multiple categories. So some of what I'm going to do with this is go through my bags that have been sitting for a while and maybe relist them and recategorize them. But then also when I'm out shopping, say, okay, I know, and I'll look at it. I know this type sells well for me. If I'm on the fence on whether or not I want to pick it up, I will have this data to help me. So mini bags, that's something I just listed. So I'm not that surprised that it hasn't sold. Mini bags are hot right now. So I'm not concerned with that. Everything else has sold. All the other categories have sold. 100% briefcases and laptops. Yes, please. I love them. I'm actually really sad I sold them because I need one now. Wallet is a 67% sell-through rate, which is really good. Satchels is really good. Hobos is only 50%. I was actually expecting this to be lower. So I'm pretty excited with that. I'm actually really excited with this data. I came into this expecting to be like, oh, I thought I was like making a killing on these brands and they're really not selling well. And there's some things that I'm going to pick up or that I'm going to change differently, but these are doing better than I thought. But this is why I like looking at the data, because then I'm like, okay, phew, like I can keep going about my business as usual. Crossbodies and shoulder bags tend to be below that average sale price. Some of that I think is the categorizing of where I'm putting them, but then also I don't think shoulder bags are really like the hot ticket item unless, and I'm going to note this, some of these shoulder bags I would bet money are Coach vintage, where in the 90s, 70s, 80s shoulder bags were a bit more popular. So having a lower sell-through rate for those is interesting. I might go through and put some of my Coach vintage into vintage category and see how they do over there. Crossbody is interesting to me as well. So I'm going to dig a bit deeper into what particular purses that I have that are crossbody and shoulder bags, and decide if I want to recategorize them or if I think that they just aren't the style right now, and I'm going to be a little bit more cognizant of picking them up. I think I pick up a lot of crossbody purses because I like a crossbody because I have little kids. And so something that's like strapped on, like if I love a fanny pack, but something that is on my body and I can chase after my kid and I'm not going to set it down somewhere and lose it. I personally like crossbodies, but I may need to like slow my roll and, not buy as many because maybe not everyone likes them for me as well. So something I also want to know is, wallet average sale price is going to be lower. Satchel, the average sale price is the highest with the briefcase. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for briefcases and satchels from Coach. And I think this is in general for purses as well. But the rest of them, laptop bags, this one is lower because it was tore up from the floor up. I know exactly which one it was. It would have been a gorgeous bag if someone took better care of it. It was vintage and it just was tore up. So I was excited with the $45 sale, to be honest. But all of these are really good average sale prices, and I'm actually really happy with the sell-through rates, to be completely honest. So My takeaway from this, let me tell you. My takeaway from this, I'm actually really excited about it. I didn't think that they were doing as well as they were. So hooray for that. But this is what I look at because I am planning on going out sourcing soon. And instead of just going and continuing to buy something that I'm like, it's a top earner, but what is making it a top earner? And when I find something, how do I make sure that I'm investing my money into it so that it sells? I want to note one more time, Coach sells well for me, Vintage sells well for me. That does not mean that it sells well for everybody. I am showing you how I look at my data so that you can learn and grow and look at your data. I wanted to show you kind of a deeper analysis into the data that I do so that I can go out sourcing. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications to see what I got sourcing. I will likely do a haul on that as well. And then follow me on Instagram as well, because I always post in my stories when I'm out sourcing, what I'm finding, what should I get, and follow me there as well. Thank you so much for joining me on this. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and leave comments down below to help me extend my reach if you like content like this, and definitely make sure to subscribe and hit the notification so you get notified of my newest content. I hope everyone has a good day.